Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another recap and review for Dr. Brain. We're now up to Chapter 5. And, I always say it, this is the best thing I've seen on Apple TV so far. Dr. Brain is so good. And I thought we'd have more time with this show, but it turns out this is the second last episode. I thought the show had like maybe 8 or 10 episodes. Halfway through, I realized, I'm like, wow, there's so many like revelations coming about. A lot of like conclusions. I was like, how many episodes do we have left? And I looked it up and I saw there was only 6 episodes. So I was like, damn, I didn't know this was the second to last one. And so for this recap and review, since it's coming to think about a day late, I'm going to upload this like on a Saturday, maybe closer to a Sunday. Episode came out on Friday, so I'm going to keep the recap short. I'm going to hit on the big things that happened, the things that we have figured out, some things that were revealed, some things that I think we had some theories on from the last previous episodes, and they were sort of confirmed in this one. We're going to hit on those, and then we're going to theorize for the last episode, and that's it. Let's just get into it. So the episode begins with Sawan. He's still in the office, right, from the last episode. He's looking at the photo, and this is where he realizes that the Dr. M in the photo is the same doctor that operated on him when he was a child, that took care of him, right? And so that's just like we go see some flashbacks. So it gets revealed that that's the same doctor from earlier, right? And we also know that his coworker Namil Hong is also in the photo, and he's been working with them, right? And so he's able to escape the office, like just barely. He uses like his cat-like reflexes to jump down from the floor. He lands on the ground and he escapes, right? And so after this, we see Lieutenant Choi, who's one of the police investigators, right? Her and one of her coworkers, one of the other police guys, they find Namil Hong in like this spa retreat, right? I think we knew where he was going there from the last episode. So they go to him, but it turns out the bad guys are also there. So there's this cool like shootout knife scene that happens. It leaves one of the police guys dead. It's her partner. It's Lieutenant Cho's partner. He dies, but they get Namil Hong, who seems to be very scared. And so Choi interrogates Namil Hong. This is where we learn Namil Hong's role in all this. So, he got hired by, the place where they work, whatever it's called, right? I forgot the name. And, so he gets, like, called upon like, this little group that they have or whatever. And we find out that they've been experimenting on orphans, homeless people, anybody who doesn't have any sort of, like, parental references or anyone that actually cares about what they're doing to them. So if one of them dies from the experiments, like, nobody cares. It doesn't matter. And so while Wong is telling his side of the story, Sawan meets up with Dr. Miyang, who's Dr. M, right? And Miyang tells his side of the story as well. And so for Wong's part, he goes into more details on how he was actually put in the same office as Sawan to keep tabs on him, and he was hired by Dr. M to do this, right? And so he's the one that told Dr. Miyang about Junkie and Kang Moo Lee and how they're investigating each other or whatever. And Dr. Miyang is the one that had them both killed. That's what's confirmed. So they have them both killed. Hong doesn't want to go to the cops with this information at the time because he thought that he might be held responsible for these events. So instead, what he did was that he got Kang Moo Lee's body when Sawan asked for it in the first episode. He intentionally and purposely got Kang Moo Lee's body so that Sawan could brain sync with him and put everything together. I said this, I think, last episode. I think you guys might have known it too. That Hong knew that was Kang Moo Lee's body. And just from seeing that photo and seeing how connected he was, we knew that Kang Moo Lee's body wasn't just like an accident. I think the first episode, Namil Hong says that it was just the first body he saw. And we kind of knew that was BS because he was so connected and everything. So that's confirmed here. He intentionally got Kang Moo Lee's body so that Sawan could brain sync with him and learn everything, just like what he did in the show. So after this, Choi and Choi and Hong, they go to like this debt collection agency that's like linked with the clinic somehow, right? And they find the guy that's been doing all the murders for Dr. M. They find him there, but he sort of like gets away from them anyway. But then we find out that Dr. Miyang also wants to have him killed, but he gets away as well. So I think he's going to go after Dr. M as well now that he tried to kill him. That's like one little thing that I wanted to throw out there. But the big thing, the reason why Dr. Miyang is doing all this, and so his motivations are, I don't want to say cliche, but they're very, like old school sci-fi. His motivation and why he wants to do this is that he can put new brains into old brains. He wants to have immortality, right? He wants to live forever. And Do-yoon, he wants Do-yoon for that purpose. He wants to steal his brain because not only is it a young brain, but he also has some of those powers that Sawan has, which he saw as a kid. And he used Do-yoon because he thought maybe Sawan passed it down to his kid, which he did, right? And for the motivation, I think it's all right. Like, it's fine. It's funny only because my last recap and review, when I was coming up with theories about like what the motivation was, I said eternal youth, but then I was like, that's kind of dumb for the show. Like, it's too cliche for the show. I thought the show would be way more like sophisticated and like what his motivation was. But it turns out it's just your basic, eternal youth, immortality sort of thing. And I think it's fine. It's cool. Do you guys like it, or do you think it's a little bit of a cop out? Like, it's kind of like a safe option for that to be the motivation. But I don't mind it, so let's continue. And so after Dr. M says his whole evil speech, the secretary Yoon, he puts like this syringe in Sawon and knocks him out. So Sawon wakes up in his apartment. He doesn't know where Dr. M is. He doesn't know what's going on, but he thinks that maybe his wife Jae might know some things. So Kangmoo Lee, who's like a ghost in his head, right? He kind of comes up, gives him some of that extra motivation to brain sync with his wife, because as we know, it's still a very dangerous process for him to do. So Sawon knows that he's going to need a second hand for this operation, so he's got to call up his boy Namil Hong. I know he doesn't want to talk to him. He's not ready to forgive him yet, but he's the only one that can help him. So they have to work together in order to save Do-yoon. So they brain sync with Jae. Jae. So they go into Jae's like unconsciousness, right? And I think the episode just ends where he's still in her unconsciousness, and there's like this little scene where I don't think it's too important, where like he's talking to his wife. The wife doesn't want to like talk to him because Junkie's coming, and this is like a memory, I think, right? But he's like inside of her memory, like playing around with her dreams, and like he fights Junkie, and then like he ends up like on a beach, right? I watched it yesterday. I'm sorry, because I don't think this ending was like too crazy important, unless I'm mistaken. And he ends up on a beach, and that's how the episode ends, where he's still in her brain, I think, right? So now it's the quest to go find Do-yoon. We have one episode left to go and find Do-yoon. I really hope he does. Quick rating for this episode is a 4.3 to 5 for me still. Every episode has been the same range for me, either 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, and it's all just been great. For this episode, I do think it was a little bit slower than the other episodes. That doesn't mean it was weaker at all. If anything, it made it even stronger of an episode. I think like this one is up there with the first one in terms of like, just like the revelations that came about and like me being super engaged. The cinematography is always impressive, but in terms of theories, there's nothing crazy like theory-wise we have to go into. I think we just have to watch how it all plays out. We could think about like, oh, do you think it's gonna be a good ending? Like, do you think he's gonna find Do-yoon? Do you think he's gonna save Do-yoon and that's gonna be it? I don't think so. I think we're gonna have a couple of twists in here at the end that are gonna be pretty dark. I think. I don't know why, but I do think that. I don't think he's gonna be able to save Do-yoon. I don't feel it. Jae, she's still unconscious. She's got to come out of there, I think, and play some sort of part in this. I don't know. It's going to be crazy, though. It's so good. I wish we had more. And let me guys know, not only, I'm sure you guys liked this episode, right? This episode was great, fantastic. More importantly, we're not getting a season 2, right? This is like a limited series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think this is just one season, right? But that'd be sick if we got season 2. I'm loving these characters, loving this story. Let me know down below what you guys thought. Like this video if you guys end up enjoying it. Very quick recap. Sorry. Next week we're going to go into it. Be really hype excited. I'll probably put it out right when the episode drops. And that's it. So thank you guys for watching. See you all in the next video. Have a great rest of the day.